Hi everyone, I'm Kim Wardle, Commercial Director at TDA Creative, the leading talent agency specialising in design, product, and tech. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of TDA Talks, where we sit down with some of the world's top leaders to explore the future of design, innovation, and leadership. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Martin Granström, VP of Design at Sam's Club, part of the retail giant Walmart based in California. Martin, it's a pleasure to have you here today. But to kick things off, can you share a bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Of course. Hi, Kim, and thank you so much for having me today. Um, I've been fortunate to be able to design and lead designers for almost 2 decades. And early on in my career, I was on the agency side where I was exposed to a number of problems, given that you work for a number of different businesses and industries. And I think that really set me up for success going forward because you get so used to getting exposed to problems and problems to solve versus diving into specific details for specific solutions. So I think that really helped me to be set up for my future career as well. My first job on the other side of the fence was for Sony Mobile and Sony Ericsson, where I was designing a number of the communication experiences and devices. Later on, I was promoted to design leader at Sony Ericsson, and I spent almost 10 years with them, where I had the opportunity to help transition from feature phone to smartphones and help design one of the first experiences and devices for the Android platform. Later on, I moved over to California and led the design studio for Sony Ericsson in Silicon Valley. And after a while, obviously, it gets too tempting. So I wanted to try something else being in Silicon Valley. So I joined Nook and Barnes& Noble and had the opportunity to lead the design there for e-commerce, hardware and software for a few years. And then obviously, when you are in Silicon Valley, you really want to do a startup. So I did a startup, video call and messaging experience where we reached over 300 million users globally. And that really taught me sense of urgency, moving fast, but also that you need to be very adaptive in your leadership, depending on the context and the situation and the type of business that you work for. Then I sort of longed back for a bigger professional family again. So I joined Samsung. And Samsung, I helped lead the e-com and support and product innovation experiences for North America. And I had a wonderful time at Samsung, and I worked globally again through Korea, obviously, and our development team in India. Um, and then I wanted to do something new, and I decided I wanted to learn about retail. So then Sam's Club showed up on my radar, and I had the opportunity to join Sam's Club. And I spent uh, 7 wonderful years with Sam's Club now, and we've had the opportunity to scale a team from 15 to 120. And it's been an awesome journey where we have really reimagined and renovated retail. So that's where I'm at today.
I love that. Wow, such a varied career across software, hardware, physical product. Amazing. Well, I'd love to dive in. What have you enjoyed most about being a design leader, Martin?
Yeah, so for me, it's essentially three things. I think the first one is really to help designers and design leaders grow. It's when you actively give uh, and take a learning mindset and give permission to play and permission to fail, then magic happens. Whether that's elevating the craft itself, creative collaboration, or elevating the value of design in an organization. It's so rewarding to see how a design-led mindset brings out the best in people. And as a great bonus, obviously it delivers better outcomes for the business. The second part is the opportunity and challenge to really evolve and elevate the design practice in the organizations that you serve. It could be the quality of design or expand the scope to more efficiently serve the users and the business, or double down on cross-functional collaboration to better problem solve towards outcomes. The third and last one here is to develop and uplift the team as a unit, as a force of design, because experience design is a team sport. One way to do that is to identify meaningful work and projects that enables that. It could be creating a design conference, do patent finding session, or submit work for design awards, whether it's relevant and right for the organization that you lead.
Brilliant. Thank you. And you've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world. Looking back on your career, what are you most proud of?
Um, this
So
one,
many things.
yeah. So well, yeah, and it comes back to kind of the permission to play and permission to fail. Like, of course, and I'm proud and humble of having had a lot of success in my career, but also failed many times. Because you learn and then you move forward, and then that's where I think this permission to play and permission to fail becomes so important. And if you sort of double down on that, and what I think I'm most proud of is really the the courage uh, that I found in myself to truly and genuinely lead with empathy. Because when you lead with empathy, what happens is that you emotionally connect with your leaders, your peers, and your teams. And when that shows, it's amazing. Nothing can stop you. Because if you truly connect emotionally, then you can create anything together as a team. You can solve any problems and you can move as fast or as slow as you need to solve the right problems at the right time. So to me, finding that courage to really lead with empathy has been a game changer. And I truly encourage others to really think about that, what that means.
Lovely. It is definitely a word that's thrown around our industry a lot, isn't it? Empathy. I think it's so important. Um,
It is.
and as a global leader, what are the key tips for building and managing remote or global teams? Because that's a big thing for us right now, isn't it? There's a lot of that going on,
Yeah.
especially since COVID. We're seeing a lot more of it, which is great because it means that we can utilize talent that we might not necessarily have done before. But what would you say your tips were for that?
Yeah. Yeah. I've had the opportunity to work with global teams for most of my career.
Mhm.
I've had teams in when I was based in Sweden, I had teams in London, Beijing, Tokyo, and San Francisco, and many cities in Europe. And here in the US, I've had the opportunity to work with teams in China, India, Korea, etc. So I think the first one for me when it comes to build and managing global design teams is really about first one is you need to connect frequently and really share the wrong time zone burden. Because I think it's really important as a leader to also make the effort to travel to the teams that are not in your HQ. It goes a long way. So make sure that you recognize and understand that it's uncomfortable for you who are somewhere else. So we'll also make sure that we share some of that pain to, get up at 5 and take a meeting in the morning. Um, and it goes a long, long, long way. Now, the second one is you want to give as much autonomy and ownership of full experiences as you possibly can to your teams outside of the HQ because you want to give them that autonomy and the empowerment to feel like they're responsible for a whole thing. Otherwise, something that can happen, and you don't want that, is that they feel like they're just doing the after work or just responsible for a small part of something. And that really doesn't build a team. Then it becomes sort of, you know, additional labor. And that's not what you want when you're building teams. And then I think the third one, and for me, this is maybe the most obvious one, but also often I see the most neglected one, which is really embrace and take advantage of the diverse and global perspectives global teams can provide. It's a gold mine for innovation, differentiation, and growth. So many ideas, so many different perspectives, and so many things that you don't necessarily see when you're in your home office. So really take advantage of immerse yourself into that different context, culture, and specific market conditions.
Interesting. Now, here's one for you, and I have a
Yeah,
feeling it could be it could be those two words, artificial intelligence, but maybe not. But what excites you the most about the future of design?
yeah, you're right. Of course, it is like it is Gen AI, and I think like this is such an interesting one. And every day you see someone commenting about, is this gonna will design go away or what will happen? And I think for me, it's not only a paradigm shift, it's also a sea change. And what that means is I had to look that up because it's a fancy word for me. Paradigm shift is when knowledge accumulates and all of a sudden you have something drastically different. In the handset and mobile design industry, it was when you went from, you know, highlight UIs to capacitive screen when Apple introduced the iPhone, when you did like uh, finger touch full manipulation UX. So that's a paradigm shift. Whereas the sea change is also on top of the paradigm shift, a behavioral change. And I think that's where Gen AI is so interesting, where you all of a sudden have a plethora of tools available to you, where for the first time, machines understand human language. So you can speak to a machine in your language, which means that you can now code. Vibing, I think it's called code vibing is the reference now. Um, so to me, it's basically all the aspects of experience creation from and for me, it's like you can create concepts really fast. You can create prototypes faster and easier. Um, and then ideate on that. And then it's also about research and insight and synthesis that you can do so much faster. And also, like, it's just the start. And that maybe is the thing that sort of excites me the most, because if we've only scratched the surface on how much you possibly can do with this. So to me, like, embrace that, play with it as much as you can, and really, really explore. Uh, and the most useful thing for me, I think, over the last year or so has been listen to what others do. If someone sort of, oh, have you tried this? Da da da, then do that and go try. I've wrote a family management parking app in 20 minutes using Bolt New for me and my family. And I can proudly say that I had a conversion rate of 50%, which is not hard when you're four people in the family, but it was a fun exercise to see how far you can go. And it was deployed in React code. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah. You have to embrace the change. And I guess if you don't, you're left behind, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. Now, we're going to have to wrap things up, but I do want to ask you one more thing. Can you share a fun fact about yourself that not many people know?
Hmm. Uh, the Swedish one, that I'm Swedish, you probably noticed and heard earlier today, maybe also from the accent. I moved to California 15 years ago. Earlier on in my life, I was convinced that I would be playing soccer professionally. Uh, Around to the age of 18 or so, when knees and let's be honest, talent became an issue. But I still think there's some promise in me, which I'm proving wrong every week when I go to the weekly pickup futsal game. So I still enjoy playing soccer, but it's very different now when versus 30 years ago, obviously, but still enjoy it.
Love it. Thank you, Martin. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the TDA Talks. Thank you so much for sharing all your invaluable insights. And to our listeners, stay tuned for more inspiring conversations with industry's top innovators. See you next time. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Kim.